Globalpost.com. Write it down, put it on your favorites bar, globalpost.com, and then subscribe. It's free if you're a student. It's free if you're a teacher in high school, junior high, or college. But if you just want to get the largest daily newsletter in the world devoted to world news, you go to globalpost.com. I'm joined by its creator and its senior editor, Philip Balboni. Good morning, Philip. How are you?
Good morning, Hugh. I'm well. How are you?
I'm great. I read with great interest your lead story today, Weaponizing Migration. And I want people to, I'm going to read just the first three paragraphs. In Senegal, Haiti, India, China, and Libya, the new hot ticket is Nicaragua. Famed for its beaches, volcanoes, and rainforests, citizens of dozens of countries are attracted by a different lure. It's become a major gateway to the United States. Quote, in Senegal, it's all over the streets. Everyone's talking about Nicaragua, Nicaragua, Nicaragua. Guevaba, 40 of Dakar, Senegal, told the Associated Press. Why, Philip? Why write about Nicaragua today?
Well, everyone in America knows we have a huge migration crisis on our southern border, but much less well known is the role that Nicaragua is playing. So, believe it or not, about 10% of all the migrants arriving at the U.S.-Mexico border are coming up from Nicaragua. Now, many of them are Nicaraguans, but a huge number of them now coming from all over the world. And these people are arriving on flights into Managua Airport. That's the capital of Nicaragua. They're coming from Central Asia. They're coming from Africa. They're coming from other parts of the world. They're coming in on human trafficking flights that have really been organized and incentivized by the government of Nicaragua. President Daniel Ortega, who is doing this really to punish the United States. So people come in and they pay heavy fees to get there. And then they still have to make the trek up north through Honduras and into Mexico to get across the border. But it saves them going through what's called the Darien Gap, people coming from Venezuela up through that little section that goes into Panama and then all the way up. So it's an extraordinary problem. And it's also a national security threat because many of these migrants are coming from countries like Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Libya, that are highly unstable, that have a lot of jihadist influence. If you were the 9/11 hijackers in 2024, this would be the route that you would choose to get into the United States.
Let me read a further down paragraph in this morning's lead story. Again, go to Global Post. Just put it into a search engine. But what's the URL, Phil? Is it the Global Post or globalpost.com?
It's www.globalpost.com. Yep.
All right, globalpost.com. Here is the key paragraph. Quote, the numbers tell the story. Between May 2023 and May 2024, more than 1,000 flights with migrants such as Libya, Morocco, Uzbekistan, India, and Tajikistan landed in Managua, while in a 6-month period between June and November 2023, 500 flights, mostly from Haiti and Cuba, landed there, according to the Inter-American Dialogue. That's astonishing. It's big business, Phil, and I cannot believe the United States is letting it go on. Can we interdict this?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't think we barely have any relations with Nicaragua. The country is an outright dictatorship from President Ortega in power between his 2 terms for 28 years. This man goes back to the Sandinistas
Reagan.
of the 80s and 90s and the Iran-Contra and all of that stuff, President Reagan. So we really don't have any influence there. And he is.
Now I have a question which is kind of weird. How come you are covering this at globalpost.com? It's the world's largest newsletter on international affairs, and you can try a 2-week free trial if you want. Go to the landing page and get the 2-week free trial. And again, it's free. I'll make sure I cover the Global Education Initiative. But how come no one is reporting this? This is a major story. And by the way, our border czar, Kamala Harris, was supposed to get to the root causes. Well, the root causes turned out to be Managua International Airport.
Right, exactly. Why? Because very few people are covering the world anymore. Um, I was listening to your previous segment with Ben and about the state of journalism in the center or the right. The state of journalism in global affairs in covering the world is in tatters, and it has been for more than 20 years. It's been going down. There are very few people who do it. It's a shame because the world needs to be covered. Americans need to know more about the world. And this is, our whole reason for existence is to
I
help
used to have John
Americans know
Fisher
the world better.
Burns on monthly. John Fisher Burns was maybe the greatest war correspondent of the last 50 years. He's retired now to Oxford or Cambridge in Great Britain. I no longer bother him. But I don't know
Yeah.
that we have a Dexter Filkins or a John Fisher Burns. In fact, I think the Global Post is about it. News items covers some international stuff, but they also have to cover domestic stuff and economic stuff. You're solely focused. Globalpost.com is solely focused on news of the world. How many people work for you? I mean, who's putting this together? It's fabulous. I don't know what your team is.
Well, we have a relatively small team. It's probably about 20 people. But we're able to do it by careful research and scouring resources, news sources all over the world. And we've expanded the company too. We now own another publication devoted to global affairs. So we're trying to um, play a stronger role in this. And I don't know, it's a great mission, but it's a great question. Why isn't more coverage of things like Nicaragua? It's because there's nobody focused on it.
And they got to connect A to B to C. People wonder, why do we have more than 10 million people enter the country without permission or invitation in the last 4 years? And the answer is because the cartels have monetized this, and Ortega hates the United States, and they are able to, and of course, underlying economic and persecution conditions feed into this as well. Philip, let's make
Yeah.
sure we tell people about the Global Education Initiative, because this is why I started having Philip on once a month. He's not a sponsor. I have him on simply because I want young people to know about the world, and they don't have to pay for it. Talk about it a little bit, Philip.
Yeah. So if people go to the website, they'll see something in the navigation that says global education. If you go there, you can read about our free subscriptions for students, high school, college, homeschooled, which really, Hugh, I owe to you. We've added a special link just for homeschool students and teachers as well. We love helping young people. All the information is right there. There's a separate way for each category of person. If you're a high school student, there's a link for you. It only takes about a minute or less to sign up. It's entirely free to the student, entirely free to the schools. Um, it's what we love to do.
I am begging teachers to assign this on a daily basis, Monday through Friday. If you're teaching social studies or American history, if you read the Global Post every morning and just go through the stories, the kids can do it in real time. It's free. They don't need a Chrome either. You can if you don't allow computers or cell phones in your school, you can print it off, copy it, and pass it around, and Philip's not going to sue you because his goal is to educate people. So what is the growth metric, Philip, for the Global Post?
Well, we have almost 1 million readers now on the web and in our newsletters. And the
That's
Global
so
Education
fabulous.
Program, we're now in 79 countries around the world. I mean, literally
I
in every corner of our planet, we have young people reading the newsletter every day. In 1,100 schools, about 10,000 students and teachers. But
If
the
David
potential
Muir
for
reads
this,
this one article, if David Muir, who's next week's debate moderator, if he reads this one article, he'll get a good question. The predicate would be the Nicaraguan airport,
yeah,
and
yeah,
the
yeah.
question would be, what are you going to do about this? I mean, that would be a perfect
I
question.
know it would be. I know David. He started at the station I used to run here in Boston, WCVB. He's become
Ah,
a very successful anchor. Yeah.
well, I very, very much hope he reads today's Global Post. Philip Balboni, thank you again. The Global Education, you can't miss it. If you go to globalpost.com, which is on my computer right now, it says about. The second thing is Global Education Initiative. If you're a teacher or if you're a high school student or a junior high school student, go sign up, get it for free, and follow P. Balboni on X if you want to know what Philip is up to as well. Thank you, Philip. Have a good month. It's going to be a wild one, and I hope they read it before Tuesday night. Let me remind everyone out there that Generalissimo is covering today on Dwayne's World all of the New York Trump speech. If you missed the first hour of the program today, I covered as much of the Trump Economic New York Club as I could, but I do want you very much to go and listen to all of it because I think it's critical to the future of America.